Welcome back to Cardinal Territory. It's Thursday, June 12th, and the Cardinals were just swept by the Blue Jays yesterday, and I'm here to guide you through it. So let's just start the episode by taking one big collective deep breath. Okay, with me now. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, let's talk about it. It was not a good end to the homestand in St. Louis, and looking back over the last 2 weeks, I understand why there is some concern about the state of the St. Louis Cardinals. Series lost to the Rangers to kick off the month. Series lost to the Royals. Solid series win over the Dodgers, so let's not discount that. And then a pretty big bummer against Toronto the last 3 days. Here's my hot take. Katie Woo with you for another episode of Cardinal Territory. I know the last series was a sweep, and obviously sweeps, bad. But I don't think the series against the Blue Jays has really made things as dire as they seem. The Blue Jays have some of the highest contact rate in baseball. They also, as a team, they have one of the lowest strikeout rates. That does not bode well for a high pitch-to-contact staff such as the St. Louis Cardinals staff, and manager Ollie Marmol said as much ahead of the series and during it. Here's a post-game quote from Tuesday's 10-9 loss. Ollie said, "We said it before the series, this might be one of our toughest series. This might be tougher as far as matchups go than even Los Angeles because of the amount of contact this group makes and what we do as a pitching staff. We knew there would be challenges to navigate, and Toronto is continuing to show why they're the toughest in the league to strike out. It's going to be a challenge all 3 days." And guess what? It was. From a match fight standpoint, it did not bode well going in. And as a result standpoint, didn't go great either. You think about the pitchers the Cardinals threw out there. Andre Pallante, Miles Mikolas, ground ball guys. Matthew Liberatore working through some things right now. Now Pallante, we'll get to him. Threw a quality start, did a nice job. Miles Mikolas got soft contacted to death. The results? A sweep. But the Cardinals were in 2 out of the 3. So that's why as we sit here and we think, is this the end of the world for the Cardinals? No, I don't think so. I think, is this a sign of them regressing to their mean? I actually also don't believe that. There are plenty of justifiable concerns right now for this club, and we'll get into that during this episode. But as far as series sweeps go, I'm actually pretty confident in this group's ability to flush it and to move on. And they need to, because 11 of their next 14 games come against division opponents, including 4 starting today against the Brewers at American Family Field. So what's next? Great question. You can read this up on The Athletic, previewed it last night. Kind of a series recap here, 3 trends to watch after St. Louis is swept by the Blue Jays. And we'll go ahead and break this article down with some added context within this episode, because this is, if you haven't judged it already, a solo episode. But I just figured as a collective unit, we could probably use a therapy session. So I'm here to try to calm everybody down. Was it a good weekend? Was it a good week series, I mean? No, it wasn't. I didn't particularly enjoy it. But I don't think it's time to totally press the panic button and say, oh, sell the team. They're not contenders. We'll see how the next 4 days go against the Brewers. And if it doesn't go well, then maybe we can revisit that conversation. But right now, here is what I'm focusing on. We'll start with some injury updates. The Cardinals are preparing to be without Brendan Donovan for at least a couple days as he recovers from a sprained capsule in the joint that connects the big toe to the foot. I'm no doctor, but that is what was communicated to me. It sounds a little similar to turf toe, but again, that was not the official diagnosis. That was just kind of talking around. Maybe this is a similar thing to kind of base the prognosis on, but I want to be very clear. The Cardinals did not specifically name it turf toe. It's a sprain. Don't think that's going to require an IL stint for Donovan, so that is good news. Donnie said after Wednesday's game that an IL stint would probably be the worst case scenario and not something that he thinks is necessary at this time, but he is day-to-day, and the Cardinals are preparing to play without him for a couple of days. That's not good. Obviously, you think about what Donnie has done in that 3-hole, the tear that he's been on at second base and at the plate. I mean, he's been one of their rocks this year. So any game without Brendan Donovan is not necessarily a good thing. If we are flipping to the positives, which is what I'm trying to have this episode be about, it is that this will get more opportunity for Nolan Gorman with Jordan Walker still on the injured list, and we'll get to him in a second. You can roll out a starting outfield of Lars Nootbaar in left, Victor Scott in center, and Alec Burleson in right, and put Gorman in at second base, keep Herrera at the DH. Nolan Gorman has been swinging a much better bat lately. I know that Bernie and I have chronicled the swing changes he's made. Gorman is such a streaky hitter, so the more that Ollie Marmol can play him right now, the better. And he is one of the Cardinals right now that's trending in the right direction offensively. Now, two of those outfielders that I just named, Lars Nootbaar and Victor Scott II, not so much. I know Lars has looked like he's been going through it lately. Victor Scott, same way, especially against lefties, just trying to figure out how to combat those adjustments. That's going to happen in seasons like this where you're constantly stressing, throwing guys in the fire and hoping that they figure it out. That's the whole prognosis of the season. We know this, right? So as frustrating as it is to see Nootbaar struggle at the leadoff spot right now, Victor Scott scuffling a bit, give them some time. I really think this series will tell us a lot about where each individual player is, both from a health perspective like Donnie and from a performance standpoint like Nootbaar and Victor. Another outfielder, Jordan Walker, starts a rehab assignment with AAA Memphis down in Gwinnett today. Cardinals are looking to get him a couple of games, and they didn't necessarily think that he would need a rehab stint to begin with. For those of you who need a refresher, Jordan Walker is dealing with left wrist inflammation, went on the injured list during the second game against the Rangers earlier in the month. But the wrist wasn't recovering as well as they hoped, so he had to get an anti-inflammation shot in that wrist, which sidelined him for a couple days, and missing a couple of days of baseball activity just made a rehab assignment make more sense. It should not be a lengthy one. The Cardinals are potentially targeting next Tuesday. So Brewers for 4, off day in Chicago, White Sox series. That would be the day the Cardinals are targeting, maybe the earliest call-up for Jordan Walker. But again, they do not believe that rehab stint will be super long. It's more about recovering, how he feels, if he's ready to get back into play. So those are the injury updates for the Cardinals. Could be better, could also be a lot worse. They'll certainly hope to have both Donnie and Jordan Walker back healthy as much as possible. All right, we'll get to the concerns, the long list of concerns that I've seen both in the Athletic comment section and the YouTube comment section, and of course, my favorite website ever on Twitter. First, though, let's hear from our first sponsor. We got a message from Huel.
If you're one of those on-the-go people or you're skipping meals but you don't want to, there's got to be a quicker solution. We've got one for you. It's called Huel. I'm going to take a swig. Cheers to Huel. This is the Black Edition, plant-based as well. Good for me. But what do you like about it?
I like the nutrition of it, and the replacement meal is great for me. Someone always on the go. Like, man, I can just grab one of these out of my fridge, lunch, breakfast, whatever it takes, whatever meal I'm not going to have time to eat. It fills me up. And it tastes great. You know why? Because it tastes like milkshake, ice cream, whatever you want to call it, whatever flavor you get is delicious.
35 grams of protein, 6 grams of fiber, 27 vitamins and minerals, low sugar. You can get yourself 15% off plus a free gift for new customers using the exclusive FT code FOUL, F-O-U-L, at Huel.com/FOUL. Please see our description for terms and conditions. Skip the stress, not the nutrition. Try Huel today for complete nutrition, bottled.
I'm actually so hungry right now. Took an early-ish morning flight to Milwaukee. I'm here, by the way, in my wonderful Marriott hotel room. And for those of you who listen to the show, sometimes I go on little tangents. I love Milwaukee as a road city. It's top 3 for me. And part of it is because the food scene here is really good. I mean, when you think about their like 3 food groups, it's like beer, cheese, and more beer, which is also my diet. So it's just a good matchup. I am looking forward to making a quick pit stop before heading to the ballpark. But let's get to the stuff you really care about. What the heck is going on with Ryan Helsley? 3 consecutive blown saves over the homestand. That is pretty uncharted territory for the all-star closer. For context, he blew just 4 saves all season last year. And granted, that was a historically good season. But when you have an arm like Ryan Helsley, who has the rapport and the reputation that he does as being one of the best 9th inning arms in the league, when he has 10 days like this, 3 consecutive blown saves, and a year where he just seems to be getting hit a lot harder than he did last year, there is going to be some concern there. So let's really look at the fastball, because in conversations that we had with Helsley over the last couple of days, he talked to the media Monday after blowing the save in Monday's 5-4 loss in 10 innings, which I think that was probably the worst game of the series, honestly, because I think the Cardinals really should have won that one. I also talked to Ryan on Wednesday before the day game about a little bit more of what he's seen from his fastball. So let's look at the stats here, and we'll compare the fastball from last year to this year. So in 2024, the 4-seamer averaging 99.6 miles per hour. This year, 99.1. So really not all that different from a velo perspective. The spin is about the same as well, and the usage is about the same. In 2024, Helsley threw the 4-seamer 45% of the time. This year, 46% of the time. So everything there seems to be on track from last year, which what is different, obviously, is the results. Let's look at the batting average, the four-seamer last year opposing hitters were hitting 276. This year they're hitting 426 and they are slugging 532. That is not good. Now, granted, some of it is you can attribute to bad BABIP. That is batting average on balls in play, BABIP, for those of you who do not know. But even when you take in the BABIP here, the expected numbers aren't really all that better. They're lower, but not that much better. So this year, the expected batting average on Ryan Helsley's fastball, again, the batting average that counts in the statistics is 426. But the expecting batting average as we head into play today on June 12th is 343. And the expected slugging is 495. So that is also not what you want. I talked to Helsley and he just said, yeah, I have to figure out what's going on with the fastball. I'm really getting hit hard. He's like, could I switch up the usage a little bit more? Can I use the slider a little bit more to play off? We saw him mixing in his curveball a little bit more. Sure. But when I'm looking at the usage, it's really not all that different from last year. The only difference is that he's just getting rocked with the fastball, and the slider it's been just as effective, if not more than last year. I mean, opposing hitters are batting less than 100 off the slider, and they have a slugging of less than 200. So two completely different pitches here that are working. And the four-seamer was never really supposed to be the strikeout pitch. Obviously, you use the four-seamer and the triple-digit velo to set up the slider. And when you have triple digits in a wipeout slider like Ryan Helsley does, you get the results that you see most of 2024. For whatever reason, we're not seeing that right now with Ryan Helsley. Now, do I think this is a huge cause for concern? A little bit, but not to the extent where the Cardinals should contemplate a change to the closer role. Not at all. One, he's allowed to have 10 bad days over the stretch of a season and a half. Does it make the losses any easier? No. Can you point to the metrics and say, well, he's actually been getting hit hard all season long? You can. I won't disagree with you there. I do think the Cardinals need to figure out the usage, what's going on with the fastball, why it has been less effective. I'm with you there. I don't think we press the panic button and tear up the bullpen because the closers had a rough stretch. Another reason why I'm saying that is because I don't really know who else they have to close, right? Who else is going to come in and close games for the Cardinals? Phil Maton's done a nice job, but he doesn't really necessarily have closer stuff. He has eighth inning setup man stuff. And again, he's done a really nice job in that role. Kyle Leahy's coming back to earth a little bit. That's okay. Still effective. And Gordon Graceffo in Memphis right now at the moment, unless the Cardinals make a move, but I don't even think he's eligible to be called up today. He has potential, but they're not there. So Ryan Helsley remains the best option to be the closer. What he and pitching coach Dusty Blake need to do is figure out a better way for the fastball to be more effective. When I talked to Ryan, I'll go ahead and read a quote from that Athletics story. He said, "I feel good. The execution is good. Knowing that my stuff is where I want it to be and that sometimes in this game, guys are going to clip you, I'm trying to do my best to not let that snowball affect the next day. I'm staying confident in my preparation and just being ready to go when my name is called." Helsley continued, "My metrics are good, but right now my BABIP is really high." We talked about this. It's almost twice as high as league average. At some point, it's got to even out, but I have to continue to trust my fastball and try to locate it a little better. So reasons to be intrigued or encouraged about the fastball is that Helsley is healthy. He feels good. This is not a mechanics thing. This is not his body feeling out of sync. This is not injury related by any means. It's just figuring out a better way to execute, locate, and dominate with the fastball so he can pair it with that slider, and hopefully we'll get back to seeing Ryan Helsley numbers. So that's another thing that I'm watching in this series. I actually think, again, for as frustrating as that Blue Jays series is, this series against the Brewers, this 4-game set in which the Brewers just dropped 2 of 3, but have been playing so much better ball over the last 4 weeks. This is going to be a really trying point in this season. I think we'll have a much better sense of the direction of the Cardinals, whether it's the April Cardinals or the May Cardinals, based on this series. So that's why I'm not really trying to overreact to a lot of what we saw in Toronto. Some of it is matchup based. I think Ollie Marmol made some great points about the matchups there. But the division matchup here, 4 games on the road against Milwaukee with your top 4 starters. They're going to throw Sonny Gray today. Eric Fetty, Miles Michaelis, Andre Palante. Switch that. Andre Palante, Miles Michaelis. Like, these are games. This is a series that the Cardinals need to win if they want to solidify themselves as a true threat in the division. That's to say nothing about their upcoming homestand, 3 against the Reds, 4 against the Cubs. So that is what I'm looking at from the bullpen perspective. I know there's been a lot of talk about the starting pitching regressing. I can understand that too. And we will get to it. We will talk about it, I promise, specifically about Andre Palante. First, though, a message from Hungryroot.
This one's easy for us to talk about. I'm a huge fan of Hungryroot. They're delivering groceries that we want and groceries that we didn't know we want, but we want.
Oh yeah, they every box that I get from Hungryroot has a new snack in it that I'm like, oh, this looks interesting, and then I try it, and I'm like, oh, I might need some more of those. So they're great at not only getting the groceries you want, but they surprise you with tasty little treats that you didn't know you needed.
Agreed. Turkey jerky. There was like a chocolate pudding thing where I'm like, I'm not a big chocolate pudding fan, then I have it, and I'm like, this is awesome. So they can cater to your needs. You got gluten-free, or you're looking for a certain diet that you want to fulfill, or there are certain items that you love. They learn along with you. You let them know your preferences. They just nail it. Take advantage of the exclusive FT offer, please. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box, plus get a free item in every box for life. Go to hungryroot.com/FT. Use code FT. That's hungryroot.com/FT, code FT, to get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life.
What is up with our sponsors being only food related? When I just said how hungry I am, and it's lunchtime, whatever. That's Hungryroot. Check them out. Let's check out Andre Palante, who, in case you missed it, both Palante and Matthew Liberatore were our guests earlier in the week on Cardinal Territory. I thought they did a fantastic job. Palante told a couple of hilarious stories on how he was a victim of an entire team prank in his rookie year. And I'm here to tell you 3 seasons later, he is still the victim of the clubhouse pranks. One thing that I really like about watching players as they come up through the minors and come to the major leagues is just watching how much more comfortable they get in themselves. And I think Andre and Libby did a really nice job in showing their like true personalities in the clubhouse. But maybe that's just me being soft. I don't know. What I do know, Andre Palante is not going anywhere. Before his last start against the Blue Jays, I saw a lot of clamor that maybe it's time to send Palante to Memphis so he can work on some things. And I'm here to tell you, my beloved Cardinal Territory subscribers, I respectfully could not disagree with you more. Let's first back up to what Palante is here to do. We've talked a lot about Matthew Liberatore and the runway and the opportunity and all of our favorite words. The same does apply to Andre Palante, right? Like, just because the Cardinals weren't as intentional with Matthew Liberatore and rewarding him the spot, Palante had that spot, and they rewarded that to him over the offseason based on what he did in the second half of 2024. So the same opportunity that is being extended to Matthew Liberatore is also being extended to Andre Palante. That's the whole point of this season. It's all about adjustments, right? We talk about this a lot with opposing hitters. Well, the same sentiment applies with the pitching staff. We know Andre Palante needs to improve against right-handed hitters. We know that has been a big focal point for him this season. And he started out doing a pretty nice job. Now the opposing hitters have caught up and made their adjustments, so it's time for Palante to make the adjustments against them. And he's doing that by trying to utilize a better pitch mix. He made a big emphasis on Monday and trying to mix in the curveball a lot more. And that was something that he said after the game candidly, and also on the last episode of Cardinal Territory, that he had some aversion towards doing in his career. He had always found success as a soft contact, pitch to contact, ground ball kind of guy. And he was hesitant to kind of stray away from the things that initially brought him success in the major leagues. But here's the thing about the major leagues. The more you continue doing something, the more your opponent is going to figure out that that's your MO, and then you have to adjust. So Palante, there's finally a breakthrough there that he needs to utilize a better pitch mix if he wants success against righties. So he's trying to incorporate the curveball a lot more. Did a really nice job on Monday. Rocky start, gave up a lot of hits in the first 2 innings, but posted a quality start, allowed 2 earned runs over 6 innings against that Blue Jays team. And I thought did a really nice job of making those adjustments. He cannot make those adjustments in AAA because he doesn't have anything to prove against AAA hitters. He needs to learn how to make those adjustments against major league hitters. And both Libby and Palante talked about this in that prior episode. The drastic difference in talent from the AAA level to the major league level, dramatic. You cannot replicate the major leagues. So sending Palante down to work on things does nothing for him. He needs to work on things at the major league level. Transition season, that's what this year is for. Another thing that I heard, put Palante in the bullpen. Maybe he could be a bullpen arm and bring McGreevy up. Everybody wants to see Michael McGreevy. I want to see Michael McGreevy. Ollie Marmol wants to see Michael McGreevy. John Mozeliak wants to see Michael McGreevy. We know why he's not here. If you put Palante in the bullpen and bring McGreevy up, you are once again at risk of depleting your starting pitching depth. I don't know if you guys have seen what's going around in the major leagues right now. The starting pitching injuries, it's a huge problem. And the Cardinals are one of the very, very few teams where, knock on wood 1,000 times, that I have not had that problem. And that's a testament to the pitchers taking care of their body. That's a testament to the Cardinals' strength and medical team. That's a testament to Ollie Marmol and Dusty Blake and their usage plans. And also, it's a little bit of luck. So you can't put Palante in the bullpen. One, you're depleting your starting pitching depth. Two, if the whole goal this season is to see if Palante can be a starter, what do you accomplish by moving him to the bullpen? So he's not going anywhere. He's going to continue taking those starts. Are we going to see Michael McGreevy again soon? Yeah, probably. He was optioned after his spot start against the Dodgers, where Bernie and I talked about it. It was a pretty decent start. Saw a lot, made a lot of adjustments, and performed pretty well against the reigning World Series champions, the Los Angeles Dodgers. Cardinals optioned him the day after, like we speculated he would, so they could bring him a fresh bullpen arm. He'll be eligible to be recalled, I believe, June 24th, which is the second day of the 4-game set between the Cubs and the Cardinals. I asked Ollie Marmol if that was intentional, optioning him as early as possible so they could use him against the Cubs, and he said that did play into their plans. He did not say if McGreevy would specifically take that start, but that remains an option. We will see Michael McGreevy most likely. Cardinals have an off day on Monday, and then they play, let me pull up my calendar, hold on, every single day until July 3rd. So that's a stretch of over 2.5 weeks. They will need a spot starter there. Michael McGreevy makes all the sense in the world for that. So Palante's not going anywhere. Michael McGreevy probably coming back up to make another spot start. Matthew Liberatore, a little bit of regression. That's going to happen. It's about how he bounces back. I hear you about the Cardinals pitching staff. And that's why, again, not to make too much out of this Brewers series, but I do think it's that important. That's when we can really definitively say, are they regressing or did they just have a bad couple of turns through the rotation? So that's where we're at. All right, last segment. It's middle of June. But it's never too early, apparently, to talk about the trade deadline. And up at The Athletic, we have a ton of trade deadline primers, not just Cardinals related, but over half the teams. There are early storylines to watch about the trade deadline. We'll talk over this briefly because, again, I am starving. But it is much too early to say what the Cardinals are going to be, if they're going to be buyers or sellers, or the lesser used version or phrase, but still relevant, the holders. And it's very much going to depend on the next 6 weeks and how they play. John Mozeliak has said all along he wants to make, or he hopes to have to make difficult decisions come the trade deadline, which is scheduled for July 31st, 5 p.m. Central Time. And if the Cardinals keep winning, those decisions are going to be much more difficult. If they lose, maybe come cratering back to 500 or below, which I don't think is in their realm of possibilities, but I could be wrong. Then the decisions become a little bit more easier, and you look at how, offloading maybe some talent that's on expiring deals. You look at if an Eric Fetty or a Steven Matz has trade value. You make a big decision about Ryan Helsley, and we talk about that in this story. For all of the clamor of the Cardinals need to trade Nolan Arenado, I ask you, did you learn nothing from the offseason? It is not going to be that easy, but I'm sure they would revisit that. Right now, though, we just kind of have to sit here and wait patiently. The next 4 weeks heading into the All-Star break will tell us a lot about Mo's plans. Some things I do want to clear up, though, and we talk about it in this story. John Mozeliak is still very much in charge. John Mozeliak is still very much in charge of the trade deadline. Chaim Bloom, while taking over in 2026, remains available for consultation, but it's always been 2025. Mo is in charge of the major league team. Bloom is in charge of the minor leagues and player development. What makes things tricky is as the Cardinals balance runway and results during the season, Mo is also going to have to do that at the trade deadline because it's not just this year's club that he has to worry about. He also has an entire future of the organization that will not be his responsibility. And the last thing he wants to do is make this transition period difficult for Chaim Bloom at the same time. Do you think John Mozeliak wants to go out a seller? I don't. So it's fascinating. It's fun. Let's flush the Blue Jays series. Let's focus on the Brewers. I really enjoyed the Cardinals-Brewers series. I think it's very competitive. The Brewers, you can never count them out. They're sneaky. They're athletic. It will be a solid showing for the Cardinals if they can take 3 of 4 from there. Thanks for sticking with me. Dusty Blake is our next guest. That episode should come out at some point Friday afternoon before the night game. We'll take a deep breath. It's a new series. It's a new week. We're not at the panic level yet. If we happen to be, Bernie and I will happily walk you through it at the end of the weekend. All right, stay safe out there. Enjoy the series, and we'll be back soon. Thanks for watching.